Hello and happy morning, everyone. This is Abhishek on the Abhishek Broadcast Show. This is a Monday morning, and let's do it. And let's get the Monday morning today with hot cup of coffee and most importantly, my broadcast. So before I get going with our broadcast, let us read our Spartan code, which is has become a kind of day-to-day practice for us. So let me read. If you have it, do read, or if you don't have it, you can read it with me. Spartan code: I choose to live by choice, not by chance. To be motivated, not manipulated. To be useful, not used. To make changes, not excuses. To excel, not compete. I choose self esteem, not self pity. I choose to listen to my inner voice, not to random opinions of others. I choose to do things that you won't, so I can continue to do things which you can't. So, with this, let's get going with today's broadcast. Now, before coming to the topic of today, I would like to ask you one few questions which I want you to reflect on. Question number one: how many times a day you scroll a news app? Second question: how many times a day you go and watch news on television? Question number three: how many times a day you look at newspaper or magazine and read the news? Just think about it. And the next set of question is, when you read a particular piece of news, how do you feel? How many times has this news made you feel good? It really made you excited. You really felt that, wow, life is great. After reading the news, I'm feeling positive, just like I feel on Abhishek Broadcast Show. The chances are 1 to 0, especially on the newspaper, especially on the news channel. Now, let me give you one simple example. A few days back, I happened to visit a relative's house very nearby, and there was one flash news coming up, and it was so in rapid that I couldn't understand what's going on. I could only see or kind of understand that there was a senior police officer, somebody like heading the entire state. His photo was there, and so a lot of noise was going on, the news channel. I happened to ask the relative what actually is the issue, and he told that he's the most senior person, senior police officer in the state. He happened to visit a particular religious place, a temple, and there he used his official privilege to jump the queue because that particular temple has a lot of queue, and he just used it, and that has become a topic of conversation. And it was so heavy, it was so much noisy that for a moment I felt like what I thought something very bad has happened. The way the noise, the sound was coming on. That is an example. And then I thought about it, what relevance this news has, what it will do to me. And in fact, people were sitting to me, I asked them, is it any relevant to you? They said, this is everyday nonsense. But still they're listening. So this is what I'm going to discuss you today, called news illusion. And this is mentioned by Rolf Dobelli in his book, The Art of Thinking Clearly. And on Monday, we learn more on art of thinking clearly. On today's session, in the next 5 to 4 minutes, I'm going to tell you why reading newspaper, why reading news on any application is a waste of time. And there are two things to it. First of Rolf and second of mine also. Even I believe reading newspaper or reading news is such a waste of time and it's useless. Number one, why reading news is waste. Number one, the reason being, most of the times when we read newspaper, we think about of that particular news in disproportionate way, right? For example, let's assume that you hear about a plane crash somewhere in United States or Russia. Now, after seeing the plane crash, after watching the plane crash, definitely any human being is going to go into deep emotion because all of us do air travel. Some people have to do frequent air travel, somebody do annually, yearly, whatever. The reason all of us can be on that plane, we could feel that empathy. But unfortunately, do you really know the reason? Do we really come to know the reason? How many times we have come to know the exact reason that this thing has happened? And most importantly, how much of that is in our control? Do we really know the next plane which we are on going to crash? And when we go to the flight, this anxiety goes with us, right? So at the end of the day, news has just put anxiety in our mind rather than telling us there are some checklist approach or telling us that 99% of the planes would never get crashed. So you don't have any fear of dying. But unfortunately, what they're putting, you can be on the next plane. This can happen to you also. So you get anxious, you think disproportionately, you can't sleep at night. Next time you travel, your friend is traveling, your relative is traveling, you're thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen? Is this going to have the same fate as that news? So, reason number one not to read news is the disproportionate response from our side. And secondly, we don't even know whatever they're telling is how truthful it is. Because if they were so truthful, then the world would have changed by now, right? Nobody knows what is the truth. Second point, they are irrelevant. The second reason why not to read news or listen to news is they are irrelevant. Imagine in a day how many pieces of news you go through. 30, 40 piece in a month, in a year. It is like getting stored on your brain like an information server. How many times has that been useful? Is irrelevant. Absolutely irrelevant. They make no sense because, as Rolf Dobelli mentions in the book very beautifully, if the relevance of the news would have been there, the journalists would be the topmost paid professional in the globe. Are they? They aren't. So what's the whole point of reading newspaper, putting that information which is mostly negative? What's the whole point? And I'm hardly come across newspaper sharing positive, mostly negative. Newspapers, online media, mostly negative. Coming to the third part, it's a waste of time. As for Rolf Dobelli, it's a waste of time because it won't take you anywhere. So he's given an example of a 26/11 attack which happened on Taj in Mumbai, and he said that around the world, how many people glued to the TV sets for 1 hour, and they felt bad for whatever was happening. And of course, there was horrible thing. But at the end of the day, what have those people got out of it? They were not affected. Nothing happened to them. They pushed the fear. And how many hours of 2 billion hours or something was calculated, got wasted? This was just an example, one example. Like that, there would be so many things, irrelevant things shown on the news, and we just waste number of man hours. Imagine the productivity we would have gotten if we don't waste those hours there. Anything, you could have listened to song, you would have sung a song, you have learned something new, playing a guitar, but we are just watching that, especially the news channel specifically. Now, what is the best solution? Abhishek, you are saying that don't watch newspaper, sorry, don't read newspaper, don't watch news, don't listen to news. Then what should we do? How do we come to know if some relevant thing is happening? You will come to know. Now, don't tell me you didn't read newspaper and you didn't come to know about COVID. Even who is not reading newspaper also, they came to know about COVID, right? 80, 90-year-old people also came to know about COVID and even about the vaccination. Many people were not ready to do. You will get affected or something that is relevant to you. Don't worry. You'll come to know your relatives, your friends. Somebody will come and tell you. So you don't need to worry about that. You will find the information properly. You don't need to read it that much. If you want to read, for example, so Abhishek, what should I do? As per this book and as per what I suggest, as per what I have done, because I have read a lot of newspaper through my civil services preparation. Trust me, that is the first thing we learn in civil services preparation is to read newspaper. So I have read a lot of newspaper from page to page. What I'll tell you is that if you want to learn about a topic, let's assume a airplane crash is what you want to know. Please go back, read in deep depth articles written on the airplanes, their modus operandi, how they operate, how it lands, what are the checklist measures. Go and check the statistics by yourself. How much stats is there? How many plane crashes have happened? How to avoid that? What are the things you can do? So if you go in depth and you read about this, actually you're going and doing something amazing versus just reading a title and clouding in your mind and having disproportionate response. So this was it, a news illusion to clear out our mind. And when it comes to art of thinking clearly, this is one thing that you need to remove completely. If you can remove newspaper, news application on your phone, or any sort of thing that gives you the news, you can really feel the peace of mind. You can really feel your brain thinking in a proper way because you automatically start to connect the dots, which unfortunately never happens because we are constantly being clogged. Our mind is being clogged by continuous throw of information. So this is it from my end. Last week covered survivorship bias. This week is news illusion. Please do let me know if that's make any sense to you. If you like it, dislike it, contradict it, please push your comments in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. This is something amazing. I did it and my brains really started to work well. My mind started to really work well. I absolutely don't read newspaper. That's God's honest truth. You can see these books behind. This is what I read and I really love it. So thank you so much. See you tomorrow with some amazing and great topic, and have great and fantastic week. Love you and bye.